Right, hello there folks, how are you doing? Lovely to see you. Hope that this video finds you really well. This is going to be the first of a few long videos from Connor 500, trying to get his YouTube watch hours up so we can get his adverts turned back on. Thank you very much for watching, really do appreciate having you here. Should be about an hour long, so if you've got the time, I'm very much obliged. Thank you so much for listening to me drone on. And if you haven't, just leave it running in the background and that'll be really handy. Thank you very much if you can. I'm going to do a few. I'm going to do one about my time at Ladbrokes, one about my first few years punting, one about working in the independent bookmakers. I'm going to do it all over the next month because I need to do it by mid-December. Because basically the watch hours for YouTube adverts, you need 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days. And last December I started doing videos again. So if I don't do it by mid-December, it's going to start dropping down again because it's going to be the last 365 days. So I need to get them in sharpish. So over the next month, 2 months, I'm going to try get because I'm on 3,300 watch hours at the minute, 3,300. I need to get up to 4,000. I'll get a couple of hundred from them from normal videos, but not enough from normal videos unless I start making the videos much longer, which I don't want to do. So I'd rather just do a few long videos. Well, I've said a few of these stories before, a few of them I haven't. I want to talk about a lot, basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 different topics. Some of them I've been through before, some of them I haven't. I joined Ladbrokes in November 2011. November 2011 I joined Ladbrokes as a teenager. Didn't have too many options at the time, so I joined Ladbrokes. Already a bit interested in gambling, already my sort of scene. So I joined in Sippenham in Slough, a shop in Slough, just to the west of London. And I joined in Sippenham, and I loved it, to be honest. It was you just chilling out with the customers, watching the racing, just monitoring the shop. It's an easy job compared to a lot of jobs, to be honest, and I really enjoyed it. You just chatting with the regulars, and I really enjoyed it. But the problem was the manager I found her to be quite a cold lady. I really did. I didn't get on with her at all. She had an issue with everything. I mean, if you put one note the wrong way round in the till, she'd kill you. She'd have a right go at you. If you were late 2 minutes one day, as a one-off, she'd be kicking off about that all day, just scowling at you all day. Anyway, this manager, this was in my first year at Ladbrokes when I was 18, 19. She basically said to me, if a customer's won a bet, if a customer's had a winner and they haven't realised they've had a winner, they've thrown it away, you're not allowed to tell them. You can't tell them because you'll lose your job. If you tell that customer they've had a winning bet, they haven't realised, you'll lose your job at Ladbrokes. And as a teenager, I didn't really, I mean, if someone said that to me now, I'd say, you're having a laugh, aren't you? You must be joking. But I was new to the game. But it played on my mind the whole time, for the whole first year it played on my mind, because we had a few lost bets in the system like that, because you could check them all out on the system. And we had a few bets that were winners, but they haven't realised. And a couple of them, I didn't know whose they were. I didn't know whose they were anyway, so there's nothing I could do about it. But one of them belonged to one of these brothers that worked across the road in this car mechanic place. I worked in the Sippenham Inlay, Ladbrokes, still there now. And there was a mechanic place across the road. And basically what had happened was, one of these brothers across the road had had a dog forecast bet. They'd put on £20 or something, and they'd won about 240 quid. So they've put on 20, won about 240, and they've lost the slip. And it's showing us, flagging up in our system, it's flagging right up. And the manager keeps telling me, you're not allowed to tell him, you lose your job at Ladbrokes. And he kept playing, and one day I thought, I'm just going to tell the bloke, I'm just going to forget the job, I'll get another job, because I don't agree with this. Don't agree with this caper. And I just told him. He came in one day, and I said to him, look, you've won 240 quid, and you haven't realised it. And he was like, oh, are you sure? So I showed him on the system. He was like, oh, great. He tried to give me half. I wouldn't take it. But I think I did take a tenner, if I remember rightly. I took a tenner to get a takeaway on the way home because he wouldn't leave otherwise. But yeah, what a joke! Telling the staff, telling cashiers, you're not allowed to tell customers if they've had a winning bet and they've lost it. What a joke! So the thing to take away from that story is, if you make sure you haven't had a winning bet and lost it, and not realised it, because sometimes the staff won't tell you. But you'd think in an ideal world the staff would just tell you you've won, but not in all shops, guys. It don't work like that in all shops. But anyway, as soon as I told him, that manager, I had to move shops after a year. So as soon as that happened, as soon as I told this bloke about his winning bet, I had to move to a different shop because she just made my life misery. So I moved to another shop then. But the second story I want to tell you happened in this first year as well, about slow counting. This happened in the first year I worked at Ladbrokes. And I was working at single manning in a place called Burnham, because basically I got a phone call saying, can you come and work in a different shop tonight? We haven't got any staff. We need someone to come and work. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. I'll come and single man in it. And I don't know if you know what slow counting is, but it's basically a scam. Now, I was a professional gambler for 7 years. I was not a scammer. I took value bet. I put value bets on, and that's what I did. I didn't scam. And slow counting is scamming. And basically, what slow counting is basically trying to get your bet on without paying for it until after the result. So say you've got a dog sprint race, right? So you've got a dog sprint race. You go up to the counter you have £200 on the dog sprint race, and you'd have a load of football coupons or something. You'd put the dog sprint race bet on, pass her the coupon, there'll be a mistake on it, and then while they're working all that, the dog's running at the same time while they're still working the coupon out. And if the dog, bear in mind that you need the dog slip to be through the system now, but if you've passed over a pile of bets, they're just feeding them through. You just see what I mean? They're going to be feeding that thing through, 200 or whatever, coupon, and then while the dog's running. And if the dog loses, you could say, oh sorry, don't worry about it, I'll just leave the shop. And if the dog wins and you pay as normal, did you get what I mean? And that happened to me. I was in Burnham working, and it happened to me. There's a gang called the Chapel Gang. There's a few of them, the Chapel Gang, and there's a load of different shady characters doing all these sort of things. You had Pencil Man who done something a bit different. You had loads of different scams, but the one I'm talking about is the one that happened to me. And it was the Chapel Gang, and they walked into, and I didn't know they were at this point. This was my first year at Ladbrokes still. This is my first year. And they've walked in, two of them, and they were really, really nice to me. They've said to me, they've gone on the roulette, and they said, I'll put £2 on the roulette. If it wins, you can have it. I was like, great. Didn't win, but I still thought that was nice of them. Then they bought me a Chinese. They said, do you want a curry and chips? Because that's what from the Chinese. I was like, oh, lovely, that would be great. Because one of them had something from the Chinese. They got me something as well. I was like, oh, lovely, that's great. And it didn't, but I knew what slow counting was at this point. I didn't know who they were, but I knew what slow counting was, because I was in tune, because I was really interested in my job. I wasn't slack about my job. And he came up. Here's when I knew something that was wrong with this guy. One of them, he came up, and it was either 200 or 400 on the dog, and a load of coupons. And I already sort of knew a little bit about what this could be already. So I've put the dog bet through, but I haven't pressed enter. I put the dog, I think it's 400 off. It might have been 200. Call it 200. I put the dog bet through. I've typed in 200, but I haven't pressed enter. I put the coupons to the side. Bearing in mind, this dog's about to go off. I said, look, we'll deal with the football after, but I need the money for this dog before I can press enter. Before I can press enter on this system, I need the money for this dog. And he's going, no, he's just trying to do his stalling tactics, taking money to get, they take ages to get money out as well. They'll take a million years to get the money out. And I said, look, I kept saying to him, the dog bet's not on. He's saying, put the dog bet on. I said, I can't put the dog bet on until this money's on my side of the till. Anyway, the dog's gone off, as it would have done. The dog's gone off. And I said, bet's not on. I said, the bet's not on, no bet, the bet's not on. Anyway, and the dog's won. The dog's won. It's won. And he's fuming. He's banging on the thing. The dog's won. He's absolutely fuming. And I pressed the alarm. Whether I needed to or not, I don't know. But I pressed the alarm. And there's a Chinese guy at the shop playing on the fob tee at the same time, oblivious to all of it. Even while the alarm was going on, he was still playing the fob tee. I probably didn't need to press the alarm, because he was saying to me, I'm going to be coming here to beat you up at 10 o'clock tonight. And obviously he weren't really going to do that. But I didn't know. I was worried. And these are two big men that came in. There was two of them, two of the Chapel Gang. There's more of them in the Chapel Gang. These are two of them. And yeah, that was what happened. That was slow counting. It's horrible. I think it's horrible. I could never do that. Try and gain the trust of a cashier. And then, I'm just going to grab some of my drink, one sec. Ignore all them letters behind me. I use, you know, you see them letters behind me. I use the backs of some of them to write the bets for the day. What I do is I get a pile of letters because I've run out of paper, and I just look for anything that's not got this blank on one side so I can write the day's tips on. So that's why they're all there. But what was I saying? Yeah, that's slow cutting. I would never do that. I'd never do that. But that's what happened to me. Anyway, I moved to Maidenhead after a year because of what happened with that lost bet. So I moved to Maidenhead after a year. I'm going through this video quickly. We're only 10 minutes there. I need to make it an hour. I have to talk slow. I'll have to talk like this. No, I won't. But I wanted to make this video an hour. We've talked about the lost bet, which is a joke. We've talked about the slow count. Basically, right, we're in Maidenhead. So I've moved to Maidenhead after a year, and we've got a customer that comes in. And what he always does is he'll double it. Basically, he'll have 20 quid. If it loses, he'll have 40 quid. If it loses, he'll have 80. It won't be exactly like that because he'll be on dogs. But that'll be the general gist of it. Because obviously, then you don't always get an even money favoured dog. So it'll vary. Sometimes it'll be 20, 20, then 40. You know, but he's always trying to win his money back, plus a tiny bit more. It's basically martingaling. What he's doing is called martingaling. If you want to look it up, it's not a perfect martingale because he's doing it on dogs and not the roulette. But martingale is terrible, by the way. It's the most terrible thing in the world. It's absolutely rubbish. You're going to lose a few. You're just going to get done. You're going to keep making a tiny bit and then just get done for it all and more. You're still on a -% whether you martingale or not. But anyway, this guy kept doing this, and he always walked out of the shop all the time a little bit in profit. All the time he made a small profit, and everyone in the shop, all the other shop staff in Maidenhead, they were saying like, oh no, we need to get rid of this guy. But we've got him for some reason they monitored him. Maybe because he's doing bigger stakes sometimes, I don't know. But they put him on monitor. I wouldn't bother monitoring some martingale dog favourite backer. But they put him on money. It's like, look, we're going to have to get rid of him because we never win off him. I said, look, what he's doing is martingaling. He's just martingaling. He's just gonna lose a lot more. And he did something a bit snidey once. This guy, he did, because basically once this guy's walked in the shop and he's wanted 20 on a dog or 40 on a dog. And I was looking on Betfair. It was a dog. He wanted something like it was like a 3-to-1 dog or whatever. I can't remember, 3-to-1, and it was much bigger on Betfair. It's like 6-to-1, double the price. So I said to him, I can't. Bear in mind, this was about 12 years ago. I can't remember if longer. Longer now. Anyway, around that sort of time ago. And I've said to him, look, if you want, I'll take your bet. I'll take your £20 or £40 bet. I'll give you a bigger price than what Ladbrokes would have given you, and we'll just do it that way because you'll get better off. I'm better off. And he's like, oh, great. Anyway, the dog lost, and he never gave me the money. So I never really liked the guy because of that. Basically, he owed me the 20 or 40 quid, but he just never paid me it. So I never really backed him, to be honest, because of that. Anyway, one day he's come in. He's done his 20, and he's done his 40. He's done it. It's gone up and up and up. Anyway, he's lost in the end about 60 grand. I'm not even joking you. I think the last bet was 15, 20. I can't remember. This was so many years ago. But he's done it, and it's gone to like 1,000, 2,000, and he's shaking and everything. And I'm just working on my own, thinking, oh no, because I didn't want to see people lose that sort of money, no matter what he'd done to me. I didn't want to see that, so I thought this is going to be the night it happened, because I knew it would happen. And there's nothing I could have done. I couldn't have told him to leave or anything, because there's 100 shops in the high street anyway. And he got up to about 5, 10, and he's lost it all. He's lost about 60 grand. His not inheritance, sorry, his retirement money. And yes, that long story short of that story is martingaling is absolutely rubbish. So if you're a roulette player, or you believe in that thing where if you keep doubling your stake to get a little bit back and more, it's absolutely rubbish. Don't do that. Never do that. It's called martingaling. It's an absolutely terrible idea. So yeah, that's probably the most I've seen. That's the most I've seen someone lose in one night, about 60 grand. And the last bet must have been 15, 20, because like I said, it weren't a perfect martingale because the dogs weren't even money, but it's just doing dog favourites, martingaling it that way. But yeah, well, we're almost halfway through my list and we're only 15 minutes in. I might have to add another topic in at the end to make it an hour, because I'm determined to make this video an hour. Apologies to anyone who sits through it, but I'm determined to make it an hour. The staff in the bookies lose all their money. Sorry, let me rephrase that. A lot of the staff in the bookies have big problems with betting. They really do. When I worked there, there's people betting £5 a race constantly while they're sitting there in the next shop and stuff like that. A lot of the staff have big gambling problems. There's a couple of them with big problems. You lose all his money, he used to do all his wages, and he's sitting there in the bookies at the same time. It's no existence, guys. There's no existence. It's not a good existence. I mean, by the second one, I was betting quite big. I was doing quite a few different things by then. I'll talk about my bets because I need to bump this video up. I wasn't going to talk about my bets. Actually, I'll talk about them at the end. The FOBT loser, the worst FOBT loser I've ever. I'll talk about my bets at the end because I'll have time on this video. The worst FOBT loser. There's a young guy, must have been about my age, about 19 years old, smartly dressed, and he'd come in the shop in Maidenhead, and he would just lose thousands. He would just sit there for hours, and he would sway with the machine. Basically, you'd like put the thing on and sway around and do something like that. And he would like you know, have you ever seen that when people on the FOBT, they'll do different things to try and manipulate the thing somehow? It's really weird. And he was doing all that, and you could tell he had such a problem, this guy. Anyway, long story short, he ended up just smashing his head on the machine. It got really bad. He just started, caught the corner of the machine or something. He was bleeding everywhere. It's really bad. It's the worst I've ever seen for that. It's the worst. Yeah, it was terrible. That's the worst. Yeah, FOBTs are evil. FOBTs are absolutely evil, guys. Honestly, I hate FOBTs. I really do. I've never played one. Well, apart from doing special offer, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I've never played a FOBT as in to just play a FOBT. I've never done that. And that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much everything I was going to say. I don't know how I thought I was going to bump this out to an hour, because we're only 17.5 minutes in. My bets. What bets are I doing? Okay, let's just talk about my bets then. I was doing, for example, because I bear in mind I had about 8 phones at this point, because I had so many accounts. Because I had my mum's account, my dad's account, my nan's account, my brother's account, my sister. When my brother was old enough, I had his account. I had my brother's mum's account because he's my half brother. I had so many accounts. I had all my friends' accounts. I had so many accounts. I had about 8 phones. They were Blackberries at the time, and there was quite a few offers that was on. I'll give you an example, just one of them. William Hill, money back second, up to £25. So William Hill, £25, money back second. So what you would do is you would get all 8 phones, have £25 on all of the favourites, hedge it off, so you'd have a total of £200 on the favourite with money back second, and then you'd lay it off on Betfair, so you'd sell the bet on Betfair. It would almost match up, and then if it came second, you'd be left with £200 worth of free bets for nothing, wouldn't you? Because you'd get your money back off Betfair. I mean, you didn't want it to win, you wanted it to come second. So by the end of a shift, because William Hill used to do one meeting on a Saturday, or they used to do, or was it on the ITV or Channel 4 racing on the Saturday? And usually you'd get 1 or 2. So if you got 1 on average, you'd be down about 40 quid, and you'd have £200 worth of free bets, and you'd make a day's wage just from that offer. And you had other ones like Paddy Power, money back second, third, and fourth, up to £50, 1 race a day, up to £50, money back second, third, and fourth. Madness. And I had all them phones, so with that I'd have 400 on. I'd have £50 on all of them on the favourite, hedge it off and just hope it came second, third and fourth. And there were so many things I was doing. One thing I was doing, I'll tell you this, Ladbrokes had something at the time called odds-on cards. They were odds-on cards, they're grid cards now, but Ladbrokes had them called odds-on cards. And used to get great little offers with them. And what I used to do was sign myself up. I used to just sign up do my own bets. Basically, I used to just make up the name, make up the phone number, and just pass it through. And I ended up with about 50 to 100 of these cards. And they used to do loads of offers. I'll give you one example. They used to say, if you bet £10 on the roulette on a Tuesday with one of these cards, we'll give you £10 on a Friday with Ladbrokes. I couldn't do my shop. I had to go into London. but they didn't know me in London. So basically, I'll give an example of one of the offers. It was roulette. Bet £10 using your odds-on card on the Tuesday, and you'll get £10 on the Friday free on your odds-on card. So I'd go into London on the Tuesday with a big stack of 50 odds-on cards, go into the shop, do all of the £10. I would just do 5 on black, 5 on red or whatever, get nearly all of it back, and then on the Friday I'd have 500 worth of free bets, and you could do them all on the same machine. There was no problem. You just find a shop where they're not watching, you just feed them through, just do it really quickly. And I was doing that. There's loads of things. Yeah, look, I tell you the funny thing about them odds-on cards is that I took to 50 to 100 of them. I left Ladbrokes thinking that these were going to do me a big. I think I was going to use them for years. But Ladbrokes changed them about 6 months after I left to grid cards. They changed them from odds-on card to grid cards, so all my cards didn't work anymore. But yeah, what else was I doing? I was hedging everything off at that point. I was hedging everything off at this point. I was just building up a bankroll, because I started with a couple of £100 off my nan. That's how I started this. How did I start punting? Borrowed 200 off my nan in my year at Ladbrokes, first bit at Ladbrokes. Did all the free bets and just gradually build it up. So I was just hedging everything off, just doing it just to get a little margin each time, and just doing that and doing that. And I do loads of things like. A couple of these things I did after I left the Ladbrokes, so I could save that to another story, because I don't want to start talking about 2015, 2016, 2017 and stuff like that yet. But I'll just hedge it because I'll do another video for that. I'll have to do this one shorter than an hour, because I don't think we're going to get to an hour. But yeah, I'll save a lot of that for another thing. But I was just doing free bets and everything like that. That's just doing free bets and everything like that. I think that's everything I can say here, because my mind's gone a bit blank now, and I think I'm done with videos for now. I thought I was going to do an hour, but I'll do 22 minutes. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Hope you have yourself a lovely day. Take care of yourself. I'm going to do another one of these soon. Thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it, guys. Cheers.